a great wrestling podcast, and you can believe in that.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew.
This is OT3.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Off the Top Turnbuckle. I'm one of your co-hosts, Matthew Shipe. As always, our wonderful co-host and producer, Paul.
Yes.
What's up, Paul?
All right.
As you can see tonight, I'm doing the introductions because Anthony is not with us tonight. He has some family in town, some friends in town, so he is out with them tonight. So tonight, I will be doing the show by myself since he had to 2 weeks ago. So it's just me and Paul tonight.
Yep.
All right, the Kings of Kings is back.
The dynamic duo, tag team superstars.
We're like the Hardy Boys.
I'm putting up my guns right now.
All right, so on tonight's episode, we're going to go over, Raw from last week. We're also going to preview what could happen on Raw tonight as we get closer and closer to Extreme Rules. I believe we're only 2 weeks out from that pay-per-view, actually. So on the 20th, I believe. I want to say 21st. I'm sorry, 21st. So the week before Memorial Day. So getting close. So obviously they're going to put out some more matches. That's a good thing about May, Paul. After they have WrestleMania, they usually have almost 2 pay-per-views, literally like 3-4 weeks apart from each other in May.
Oh wow! So yeah, I was gonna say I didn't understand. Like, so do they have it pretty much every month? Something going on?
Yeah, there's something going on every month. The only reason I think there's 2 this month are kind of close is because WrestleMania is technically the March pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But they always wait till like the first week of April into March, and then the next one they just wait until the very end of April. And then, you think about it, you wait that long, quick turnaround, it's only 4 weeks till the next one. So here we go.
That's
so,
cool.
And then, we had a little thing in ROH this week. There was a new member of the Bullet Club, the one that AJ and all them used to be in. There's a new member of that. So, pretty fun week for wrestling. Let's first get into Raw for last week. We had, the main event obviously was the Bullet Club of the WWE version. I guess you had AJ, Luke, and Carl take on the family, I guess is what they're referring to themselves now as, of Roman Reigns and the Usos. And the ending, you almost want to say you saw a Roman heel turn, but you didn't. It was more revenge for Roman. What happened was we got towards the end of the match, and they beat the Usos and Roman. And then Carl and Luke beat down Roman. They bring him in the ring, and they give a chair to AJ, and they're pushing AJ along to hit him with the chair, hit Roman with the chair. So AJ eventually threw the chair down, didn't. Now what happened after was the Usos came back in the ring, and they took out Carl and Luke Gallows with the chair. AJ picked up the chairs after seeing his friends get whacked, and he knocks down the Usos. And as he was knocking down the Usos, who happens to get back up from getting hurt, Paul? Can you take a guess?
No.
Roman.
Roman, I wasn't listening. I was listening, but I was trying to fix the audio thing. So he gets back up.
He gets back up. Right as he gets back up, he sees AJ wailing his 2 cousins with the chair. So obviously Roman goes in his little crazy, badass Roman Reigns mode and completely just super punches AJ, then proceeds to...
I saw that, actually.
Yeah, then he proceeds to beat down Styles, took him to the outside of the ring, and did the version of what the Shield used to do with the powerbomb through the table by himself and completely just powerbombed AJ through the table. People are talking about, oh, that's the heel turn. It's really not. It's mostly just Roman doing his badass self, trying to get revenge on what happened to his family. I mean, he just watched both his family members get knocked out with chairs, and he does this, so it's almost like more revenge for him. So we'll see how that story develops. Obviously, AJ's been going up to Roman the past couple of weeks. Hey, I'm not condoning what these guys are doing. But now AJ's going to be like, look, I use a chair because your 2 guys use it on me, and Roman will be like, whatever. So that storyline will pick up more, and we'll see what's going to happen with this. I mean, is AJ going to stay with his boys, even though all the stuff they've been doing, or is he going to, leave them be and just try to do stuff on his own, which could be a heel turn for the Gallows, where you bring in Finn Balor or anything. So, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to watch for the next couple of weeks on how this develops with the AJ, Luke, Carl, and then with the family. So let's see what happens with that.
Would he connect up with a different duo or a different
AJ? No, he'll
team
probably
or
just be a
whatever?
single guy if anything happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
So we'll have to see what goes on with that, and then see what goes on with Roman. Is he going to continue this little badass rampage that he's been going on, or is he going to go back to soft Mr. I'm not the good guy. I'm not the bad guy. I'm the guy at promo where everyone keeps just booing the hell out of him. We'll see what happens. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. And then last week also, obviously, did I ever show you or did you ever watch the video what happened to the Enzo Amore at the pay-per-view of his head snap?
I think you guys talked about it last week a little bit, and I saw it. I pulled it up. That was pretty crazy. He actually hit really hard. Yeah.
So that's why we tell people oh, it's fake. It's not fake. It's just scripted, and these are real injuries they're getting, and there's real severity of stuff that can happen with doing stuff if you don't know what you're doing with these injuries.
Yeah, it's crazy. I tell that all the time to Lukey, my son, just because he's watching these guys, and I don't want him flying off of like a deck or something like that because he thinks he can like fall into a table or something. You know what I mean?
Go off the couch or something.
Yeah, I tell them like they're actors, but they're athletes. They're athlete actors or whatever.
So going on with that, the New Day came out, cut a little promo, and then the Von Villains came out, and they actually cut a promo about Enzo, saying, if he was a man, he would have gotten up more of him, he would have gotten up. He's not a man and whatnot. Furthering the injury, and it's almost like, wow, this guy could have just died, and they're already making fun of him.
Whoa, yeah.
So the Von Villains are declaring that they should be #1 contenders. The Dudleys come out saying, you should start the tournament all over. That match got thrown out. And then after that, you're wondering what they're going to do with Big Cass. Cassidy, what's going to happen with him. He actually did come out, and he had a little beef, with the Von Villains for what they did, which culminated into a match with the New Day plus Big Cass versus the Dudleys and Von Villains. The Dudleys are, trying to work with these guys, tell them, this is how it's done, all this other stuff. They were both playing up the role of heels. Obviously, they let Cass get the win. Obviously, you can't have what happened to his partner not get the win.
Right.
So it looks like the Von Villains are going to declare themselves #1 contender. It could look like to be them versus the New Day at WrestleMania, which should be very interesting. Not WrestleMania, I'm sorry, Extreme Rules.
All
All right, so we had that continue. Now we go back to another thing that happened in these Extreme Rules with the whole Intercontinental title. And it seems like we're setting ourselves up for a fatal four-way between Cesaro, Kevin Owens, The Miz, and Sami Zayn. Obviously, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have had a rivalry for quite a while, dating back from NXT. They used to be a best of friends. Now this is happening. Cesaro and Miz, they're just in there because obviously Miz is the IC champ. Cesaro, ever since he's come back, he's been on a little roll. The fans love him. He's so over with the fans. So this Fatal 4-Way is going to be very interesting where you're going to have, you'll probably see a lot of action between Zayn and Kevin, which result you'll see a lot of action between Cesaro and The Miz, which I think is going to turn into a very great match and could probably be one of the better ones, on the card if it happens.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that further develops. Maybe we'll see a tag match like Cesaro and Zayn versus Owens and The Miz. Maybe we'll see something like that go on, which I hope they do.
Is Miz is a heel?
Yeah, Miz has always been a heel. He's
Okay.
a arrogant, cocky little bastard.
Nice.
Now the Miz, the reason why he acts like the way he was is he thinks he's a star because he was actually on the Real World at one point.
Yeah, no, I remember that. That's what I remember him from. And then, like, I think maybe after he actually became a wrestler, it was some time after I actually realized that was the same guy. I was like, holy crap. And I remember because in the Real World, his fascination was wrestling. He always wanted to be The Miz, right? So that was
Look
pretty
what
cool.
happened.
Yeah.
So we have that. Now we're going to have also another match announced for Extreme Rules. You had the controversial, little Charlotte, Natalia finish. So now they're going to actually have a match at Extreme Rules submission match, which means you have to win by making your opponent tap out, and Ric Flair is banned from ringside. So that should be very interesting to see how that goes. Charlotte's been on very much of a hot streak lately, with the women's division, Natalia. I really don't see, Charlotte giving up the belt to Natalia, but, see what goes on there. Speaking of the Divas division, there's rumors tonight that Dana Brooke will be debuting tonight on Raw. Dana Brooke was on NXT. She was in a tag team actually with Emma. Emma obviously is debuting and feuding with Sasha Banks at the moment, so maybe Brooks comes out to help her out, so we'll have to see what goes on with that. The last time we saw Dana Brooke, she was with Emma, against Asakura. I can't say that Japanese wrestler's name in the women's division. But they had that rivalry going on, so we'll see what happens if she joins back up with Emma or what happens with her.
Okay. It sounds like... I actually like Maddie. My daughter actually started watching it, and she was like, "Oh, cool!" She kind of liked the idea of the women wrestlers, so that was pretty neat. Anyway,
Tell her don't do it though.
yeah,
Tell her go to Harvard.
that's right. That's where she wants to go. Anyway,
Yeah. So, all right, now let's get to NXT a little bit, where Eric Young debuted it for NXT last week. He was a big guy in TNA as well, with Austin Aries was over there, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe. So he comes down to Joe. He's like, I know who you are, you know who I am, something like that, acknowledging that they all know each other. He actually had a match with Joe. Joe obviously beat him. And then we got an announcement that Joe will be facing Finn Balor at the next NXT TakeOver event in June for the title, which I think will be Finn Balor's final event in NXT. I think he is coming up to the main roster either at Extreme Rules or in the summer. I think, the way when Kevin Owens lost the title, he had one more match on a pay-per-view before he was brought up. I think this will be it for Finn. I think he'll lose to Joe. Joe will go on to feud with, whoever. If Bobby Roode comes in, Nakamura, Eric Young again. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
wow. So that's big, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big for him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what goes on with that feud.
Nice.
I think it will be Finn Balor's last, and if Anthony was here, he would agree with me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna come back to Raw tonight in a little bit, but I want to go outside of WWE real quick to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor just had a pay-per-view. It was called Global Combat. Was them. They were infused with a couple other companies. New Japan was there, and part of the New Japan is the Bullet Club, obviously the former stable with Finn, AJ, and all them were in it, and the Young Bucks. They promised there'd be a new member tonight, and during their match, no new member came out. But you get to the final match between Jay Lethal and Colt Cabana for the RH title, ended in a no decision because these guys came out, and they were about ready to give. It looks like they were about to give Cabana and Jay Lethal two Bullet Club shirts. Lights go out, and someone who I've never heard of before. I had talked to Anthony a little bit more about him earlier today. Adam Cole stepped into the ring, and they proceeded to beat down Lethal and Colt Cabana, and he ripped off a Bullet Club shirt. So he's now a new member of the Bullet Club that the Young Bucks were teasing about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to develop in the New Japan and the ROH storyline. So we'll see what happens with that. Another big thing that happens in another company is Evolve. I believe that's what it's called. I believe it's called Evolved.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a little contract with WWE with their cruiserweight, tournament style match. Ethan Carter and Drew Galloway were there. Now, those two are in TNA. Drew Galloway is obviously the heavyweight champ. Ethan Carter, former champ. Both of them used to be in WWE. Ethan Carter was on the original NXT competition, and Drew Galloway obviously was in the champion. He was Doan, the chosen one. So they came out for a promo.
Mm-hmm.
He started off the promo saying he started talking all this crap about NXT. He was talking about the King of Kings on how he messed up because he didn't obviously go with Ethan Carter. Drew Galloway was nothing in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Started shooting on them. All these other people came out to try to stop them, and they proceeded just to keep on beating. They kept on beating down everyone that came out. They're beating down on refs, on other wrestlers that were trying to stop this promo, which obviously you probably think it was scripted. So the funny thing to come out is, since WWE is working with this Evolve company, you're like, how did they let this happen? So people think that WWE did this to maybe get some more people to watch that company to help them out a little bit more. It was very interesting though to have this guy, from TNA shoot on you, and then it's just like, whatever, let him do it. Probably because WWE knows that nothing's ever going to bring them down.
Mm-hmm.
So just like, whatever, we'll just let it go and see what happens. So that should be very interesting to see if there's any response to that. I'm sure WWE won't acknowledge it at all. They'll just brush it aside. But it's just very interesting to happen on a company that WWE is helping progress with their cruiserweight division. So it's very interesting to see that happen.
I'm sure they're getting their benefit from somehow.
Or
there's a plan in place or something.
Yeah, somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so we're going to shift back to WWE. Those were just quick notes from outside of the company. And one big thing I was reading about today is what to do with Big Cass now that Enzo's out. Should Big Cass... Vince McMahon's very high on Big Cass because he's a 7-foot guy. Vince likes the big guys. He's great in the ring. But the problem is if you push him singles, what do you do when Enzo or Amore comes back? Because Enzo obviously has great charisma. He's great on the mic, and you don't really want to hurt him by making him a single competitor. He's not really a singles guy. He's more of a tag team with Big Cass. So the thinking is, maybe let Cass give a little run by himself for a little bit, see what he can do. Then once Enzo comes back, bring them back together, and Enzo, can cut maybe promos. This guy held it down while I was gone, blah blah blah. But I really don't think I don't see them taking these guys apart because they're so great together. So that's one thing definitely to watch out for tonight in the next couple of weeks. What's going to go on with Big Cass? Do you see him into maybe a title, maybe a U.S. title scene or something like that.
Hmm.
So speaking of the U.S. title, I can't believe I completely forgot about this. Last week on Raw, they had a number one contendership battle royal. Came down to I think it was like Ryder, Sheamus, Albert Del Rio, and Rusev. Now, just past couple weeks, Rusev, Del Rio, and Sheamus, obviously the League of Nations, disbanded. So it's fun. So those guys obviously went at it, and it eventually came down to Ryder versus Rusev, and everyone's thinking, "Oh God, is Ryder going to pull off another upset?" Rusev wins. You got Rusev versus Kalisto, another big guy versus little guy. Now we come to is it Rusev going to get another U.S. title run? Is he going to get another push like he did when he first came here? Which I really hope he does. He was great. He's a great in-ring competitor. I think they kind of not use him as much because the title scene now is just so packed with people. I wouldn't mind seeing him with another title run.
So I was watching that and like, and I noticed that like Sheamus got like thrown out of the ring at one point, but then he like appeared back in the ring.
Yeah, you have to go over the top rope in that battle royal. So he may have went. Did he go through?
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so that makes sense. So yeah, so I think he like got thrown out or he slipped through or something like that, and then he came back in. So okay, so you can go underneath the ropes, but you have to be thrown out over top of the rope to be knocked out. Okay,
but here's the thing though, even if you get thrown over the top, you can still come back in the ring and still just beat people down just because you can. It happened to Royal Rumble last year. It always does. Someone will get thrown out, and then they'll rush back in to take out whoever they want.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
So, all right, another big thing that happened this last week was there was a lot of releases from the company. There was, I guess, I'm trying to think how the best way to put this. It's like they're spring clean, I guess, in terms of superstars getting released. And there was actually one really big name on this list that I'm sure a lot of fans are bummed out about. Me personally, I was bummed out about this guy getting released, but Damian Shadow got released from the company. He never really got, I think, to his full potential. They always gave him some weird gimmick to do, whether it was, dressing up like Macho Man, the whole Mizdow thing where he copied the Miz, the road, the little, he was a part of a tag team with Cody Rhodes, Rhodes Scholar. So, they never really gave him a chance to do something on his own. They always gave him these gimmicks. The thing is, when he did these gimmicks, he did them so well. He was so over with the fans. The fans loved him. That's why I'm bummed out. I wish he would have gotten some kind of run. Obviously, he was a tag team title holder with The Miz. They actually lost their titles to the Usos at one point, but it was very upsetting to see him go.
Do you think it was something like that had to do with like contract or negotiations or money or something like that?
I mean, it could have been a money issue. You really don't know in these things because it's all behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that happened. Also, in terms of releases.
Do you think he'd land somewhere else? Like, would he go?
He already put out something that said that he's available for not signings, like just appearances. People will pay for him to go to smaller like wrestling events. So I'm sure he'll catch on somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
You may see him in TNA, New Japan, ROH, something like that.
Right. Okay.
But also that were victims of that were Hornswoggle, the little midget leprechaun. You haven't seen him on TV much. Zeb Coltler, who was rolling around with Del Rio and Jet Swagger at one point. Alex Riley, who some fans liked but never really got a chance to do. He moved down to NXT a lot. El Torito, who was some midget Lucha Libre guy who was running around. He never really got going at all. And Santino, another fan favorite. Santino, I don't believe he can't wrestle anymore. He had some issues, so I guess, they were just cutting losses. He really couldn't be using the ring anymore. It's a shame. He was over with the fans. He had a funny gimmick going around. He was a Intercontinental champion at one point, so it's pretty upsetting to see him go as well. So those were the cuts that WWE made this week.
So what do they just put that list out? Like, do they?
You just find out. I mean, either they'll say it, oh hey, I've been cut or something like that, and someone just poses it.
How often do they do that? Do they do it every month, or is it kind of like?
No. I think it's like once, twice a year type of thing. They'll do some kind of clean. Make way for the other talent. Because obviously you're getting, you have Eric Young, maybe Bobby Roode coming, so you got to get rid of money somehow to be able to sign these people.
Yeah, and also time. I can imagine that there's just you got to fill like a certain amount of time, and if you don't have enough work for people, then you're just wasting money.
Yeah, if there's nothing for you to do, what's the point of having you?
Right.
And also, Wade Barrett came to agreement to terminate his contract early. He wasn't going to re-sign anyway with the company. So instead of making him wait it out, they just came up with an agreement. So he's also been released from the company.
He gone.
Yep, he gone. So so pretty good release. You know, not good, but really good roster there. People getting released that were fan favorites.
What do you do after? What's life after wrestling like? After big star pro wrestling, like you go back to a 9 to 5 job?
I mean, I don't know what they do. They just try to hook up somewhere or something. I mean, it's got to be devastating that you came so far to follow your dream and then that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they'll probably be picked up by like
Where's that
a
booty?
smaller circuit or something like that. You know, a local
TNA,
circuit.
One of them will get picked up. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Another name getting thrown around that people thought were going to get the release was Randy Orton. They quickly killed that rumor. He hasn't been on TV in a while, injury, and yeah, I could really find it difficult for WWE to release Randy Orton. He's one of their most popular superstars. He pushes merchandise out the door. So that was a really weird rumor going around that I didn't think would ever come true.
Yeah, they won't get rid of him. I mean, those guys, they get to a certain level, I would imagine that it's just they're probably still making money on the merchandise and things like that they just keep them around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So before we finish off tonight, I'm gonna do a full. I did some preview earlier, but I'm gonna do like a full Raw preview. Still more what's going on with the Stephanie Shane thing. Obviously they're working together now, try to figure out what's going on. What matches to make or none. So I still want to see that continue. Where's Triple H been? Everyone's waiting to see what happens with him. When's he coming back? So he may come back at a pay-per-view or whatnot. Because obviously this, he's still behind the scenes guy. But I think his in-ring contract actually ran up after WrestleMania. So the question is, did he make another in-ring contract so he can do a rematch for the title? What's going to go on with that? So I'm still waiting for Triple H to come back. What's going to go on tonight with the family and with the club, because actually Carl Anderson did post a picture online of him, AJ, and Doc Gallows calling them the club is back together. So that's going to continue obviously tonight. What's going to happen with AJ and Roman. More of the IC title picture, what's going to go on. Is the Fatal 4-Way going to be announced tonight or what? The women's division, Dana Brooke, what she's going to do tonight when she debuts, if it happens tonight. Very interesting, obviously going to continue the Rusev Kalisto storyline with the U.S. title. So it's going to be very interesting Raw tonight. I can't wait. Every week it's something new on Raw this week. This is probably the best, since, a little bit before WrestleMania. Actually, since the day after WrestleMania now, I think it's the best month and a half they've had of wrestling. I think WrestleMania, was a little down. As me and Anthony both agree, it wasn't exactly the best, but ever since then, they've been really going up and up every week. So they're stepping up their game more now, and I'm starting to like it. And hopefully, maybe we can get some more of this non-PG area to come back.
You think that would happen? I think I just heard. I think it was on last week's Raw. They were saying that they're going to try to keep everything. I mean, I think I saw like commercials or something like that.
Too, because of the kid base that's watching it now. I mean, some of them are. I mean, they'll push the boundaries as far as they can. I think you'll mostly see, if it's any non-PG stuff, you'll see it during the 10 to 11 o'clock hour when most of the kids are probably in bed.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, before we go, I need to find a way to get you to watch this. Apparently, you can't share WWE Network accounts anymore because I guess kids are trying to make more money. So I have to find some way to get you to watch this. They came out with a new show after Raw last week called Camp WWE.
Okay.
It's rated TVMA. It's made by Seth Green. Obviously, he's the same guy who did that Robot Chicken. And they actually do curse in that.
Wow, okay.
That is the only thing on WWE Network that would curse. They were saying, jackass. They were saying all this stuff on it. So it's very interesting to see that on the W Network. And it even says, this isn't suitable for kids. But I'm sure some kids were watching it. But it was the funniest thing I've ever watched in my life in terms of cartoon with wrestlers.
All right.
So I'll have to try to find a way to get you to watch that. Maybe find it somewhere for you to watch. But it was the funniest thing ever. I
wouldn't be surprised if they have it on YouTube like right now.
Maybe. They had 12 curse words. Ric Flair, I think he humped The Rock and he had sexual relations with Bear on the show. So the funny thing is Ric Flair's going around going, woo, woo, woo. That's all he's saying is just woo the whole time. He'll talk, but then everything's just woo.
Oh God! I saw him get slammed or whatever he did last week. Didn't he get slapped in the face or something, and then
by Natalia? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and then I think she put him
in the sharpshooter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's why he's been banned from ringside. But he was on that show. They had like, it was kids versions of Cena, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Triple H, and Stephanie are teens, and they're the camp's counselor. Obviously, Vince runs it. Sergeant Slaughter's in it at some weird role. You had like R-Truth in it. You had Big Show. So you have everyone in there. Of course, they were showing. You know how when you're in camp, your parents will send you care packages.
Yep.
So everyone gets these boxes of care packages, and the Undertaker's box is shaped as a casket.
That's good.
So it was comical. Anyone who has a WWE network that is over the age of 18 and can watch TVMA, I recommend you watch it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the network.
Nice. Nice.
It's going to be a new episode after Raw every week. So there'll be another new one tonight, I believe. Or maybe, no, I think it's a new one every week after Raw. So there should be a new one tonight right after Raw goes off the air, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Tell you what, I give Anthony props for when he did the one-man show. Tell you what, when even doing my sports show, it's so hard to do a one-man show sometimes.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to keep. Yeah,
You got to keep it
I
going.
mean, I get it, but you guys did great. Both of you guys did good.
Yeah, so Anthony will return. Oh.
Sorry.
Anthony will return next week. I, unfortunately, will not be on next week's show, so Anthony's going to have to do one by himself again. I have some things I promised someone I'd have to do, but we will return together for our preview of Extreme Rules, and still working on, once we find out we can have an hour-long show. Hopefully, watch next week be the time we can do it. Hopefully, we're still working on, when we do have the 1 hour show, we're going to do a WWE mock draft between me and Anthony. And I think I'm not going to be able to do it during this month. The next couple months, I'm going to try to set up some way to do a wrestling fantasy league. Me and Anthony are going to give it a trial run with our draft that we're going to do. You know, points for wins, stuff like that. And then if I can incorporate it, I'm going to try to build on it and maybe make like a full-fledged fantasy league for our fans to do off the show. So I think that should be something fun to do if I can, I got to work on that. It's going to take me a while to get everything together for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Once Paul gets the website down, we can also do that too.
Yep. Yeah.
So Paul, let's take it away.
Yep. So speaking of, that website will be up, so make sure you stay tuned. But the best way to stay on top of the news is to follow us on Facebook, which is Facebook.com/Off the Top Turnbuckle. Also, follow us on Twitter. It's at OT3 Podcast 1, and you can shoot us emails to ot3podcast@gmail.com. So make sure you stay, if you want to get on top, see the latest news, get information when it comes out from the OT3 crew. I just made that up, OT3 crew. Anyway, then that's the best way to do it. Send us your questions, send us your comments, send us your favorite matches of the events tonight, of last week, what you think is going to happen. We'd love to hear it. And yeah, we'd love to interact with you guys. So please go ahead and hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, and that way you'll get all the latest episodes right there delivered to you for free. And then as soon as we get the website up, the podcasts are going to be available too. So
yeah. So thank you, Paul, again. Everyone, thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Like I said, I will not be here next week. It'll be Anthony, but in 2 weeks we'll return full force for our Extreme Rules preview show.
Mm-hmm.
Also tomorrow you can catch me on Shite Sports Talk. We have our show tomorrow. We're going to be reviewing the draft tomorrow, talking some baseball, caps. So that's actually tomorrow as well.
Yep.
Paul,
Looking forward to that for sure.
So as we can say, thank you for listening again. Like Paul said, please hit that subscribe button. Hit us a like. Comment us. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you for myself, for Paul, and for Anthony, wherever he's at, having fun. Thank you for listening, and tune in next week, everyone. Go have fun watching Raw.
Yeah. See y'all.
Woo!